Hello, I'm Steve. Thank you for visiting the Patio Heat channel, where we provide visual concepts of infrared heating as well as tips for ideal patio comfort. Check out our patioheat.com website for sales and more information. Please tap that like button if you find this video useful, as it helps others find our channel. Now let's get heating. Alright, so this is a commercial application. You can see this is a restaurant outdoor dining space. We have a couple of things that we want to be aware of. We have some drop-down drapes that come down, and I think it helps protect it from the snow. This is a location back east, and there is snow in the winter time here, and it gets very cold. So I imagine that this also acts as a source of insulation. We do have some fire retention sprinkler heads up here, and also over here. And then we have some lamps located down the center. My lamps are a little bit different than what theirs actually are. I do have these lamps centered within the post right here. And they might be actually, the reason I'm showing that, because they actually might be centered over here. So we would have to just shift everything over. Let's go ahead and look at the overall dimensions that I have here. Oops. So overall dimensions I have is 11 feet wide by 11 feet tall. And it's 90 feet deep this way. And then, so it's a total of about 1,000 square feet. When you're heating up 1,000 square feet, you want to do as much as possible with as little as possible. And so my first recommendation is going to be to utilize a gas unit. The gas unit I'm going to recommend would be called the Infrared Dynamics Sunglow Model A244. It's got a hanging bracket here. It's got some scroll work here, and the bracket I believe is 21 inches down. You are required to have 18 inches above and then 24 inches out on all sides of the heater itself. I did place this marker here just so you can see what the finished height would be at roughly about 7'3.5" approximately off the ground. And although you see the bracket not touching the ceiling, you would have to come up with your own like maybe a piece of angle iron that comes up here, bolts to the ceiling, and then bolts to the bracket itself. I think this bracket's about 1.5 inches or to 2 inches wide, and I think that's about it. Yeah, so these are 50,000 BTUs. This is a A244E, so it has a self-ignition system. You hit a 24-volt switch, the unit comes on, and then it monitors its flame. So if it ever got blown out, it would automatically try to either restart or to lock out. And to reset this unit, you would have to just turn the switch off and then back on. So yeah, it puts out enough heat, so 50,000 BTUs. You can kind of see here what our footprint of heat would be. It's roughly about a 14-15 foot diameter of heat. And with a system like this, you're going to get a nice coverage through a space like this size. I think we have a total of 9 units here. And I think that would be a great option for an application like this. Now, one consideration that you'd want to take is the fact that these do have exhaust, so there is a burning flame inside of the emitter grid here, and that being said, then that exhaust is going to flow up into the ceiling area, and it has a potential of setting off fire sprinklers based on the height of the sprinklers, how much air movement, and whether that exhaust is able to flow out of the environment quickly. It may require some type of ventilation to be placed inside of the ceiling, and that ventilation would have to be mechanically controlled, most likely, to draw that exhaust gases out of the ceiling area. So that's something to be concerned and consider, but this would be the best application in my opinion. All right, let's go ahead and go to the second option. The second option, in my view, would be something of the Sun Pack. This again is a gas heater. It has 34,000 BTUs, and this is a TSR. You can actually get, a TSH. You can actually get a S34 as well. It's 34,000 BTU, and the TSH model has a reduced option of 25,000 BTU. So you would hit a switch that would reduce it to instead of 34,000, going down to 25,000. I have them located in the same place as I did the A244s. This centered within this span here, and then centered within this span here. If this span, this 9'9" and 5/16 center to center here, if that's a little bit wider, that's going to be okay. If it's let's say another couple of feet wider and there's less of these posts, then we would want to kind of make sure that we have the heaters around 10 foot center to center from each other. So just bear that in mind. Looking at the footprint of heat, you can see that this is a fairly decent coverage. We still are missing some applications or locations here. You can see that there's some missing spots in between some of the heater locations. So, but it is a decent application. And again, speaking of the fire sprinkler system, these are gas heaters. There is exhaust. You want to make sure you have a way to evacuate the exhaust gases out of the ceiling area. And especially when you drop these drapes down, now you're really concealing the exhaust gases in as much as possible, less air movement. I'm sure there's some, crackage between or openings between the drapery and the structure itself. However, and that will allow exhaust to flow out of there. However, you want to make sure that this area up here doesn't fill up, especially on a calm day where there's no air movement. All right, and so if that would be a major concern, then the last option I can come up with would be to place an electric heater here. And let's see if I have those here. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so this is a Infratech electric. These are 6,000 watt, 240 volt, 25 amps a piece. You can go one bulb on, one bulb off. You can go with a control system. Actually, again, have them in the same locations. We do have some missing space between each one of the heater locations, just like I said before with the sun packs. But again, you get a decent coverage, and I would say it would be okay. Now, we're not going to be able to, heat this room up when it's open like this throughout a 50-degree temperature or lower, unless we were able to close this up and retain some of that air movement throughout the space. There's no exhaust on these heaters, so that might be the best option for this application, being that this is an older structure, and that you want to make sure that you're venting up there is the big issue. There's no exhaust fence, so they wouldn't hit the sprinklers and they wouldn't trip. So something to think about. Now, it is a lot of power, same amount of units. 9 units would be, that would be 125 amps on a 240 system, or sorry, 225 amps on a 240 system. So that's a lot of power. But if it's a windy area, if it's area again that you just can't ventilate, then this would be a really good option for that. All right, well, I hope this has helped, and if you're looking for some assistance with your outdoor heating application, you would like us to review your plans, please send your information to designs@patioheat.com. I'm Steve, and again, please tap that like button. We do not advertise, we do not monetize, therefore YouTube will not promote our channel unless we receive your appreciation, and we thank you so much for that. Have a great day.